Hi, and welcome to today's June 12th stimulus package update. If you're a subscribed member of my community, welcome back. And if you're not, subscribe right now so I can bring you the best stimulus package update and other smart money tips. Okay, now can I just say how much I love my community? Is that okay? I think my community gives my videos likes more often than any other channel, so thank you for liking my video. I really appreciate your support. This morning I tried calling several senators. Sadly, it was easier for me to reach the IRS than a single senator. I did leave several voicemails, and the press secretary for Senator Mitt Romney actually called me back. She said at this time he's not doing interviews on the stimulus because there isn't a clear plan outlined. She said based on my channel size, he might be open to doing an interview with me in July, so we will see. Either way, I want my community to know that I was trying to get answers and share feedback about the state of the economy. I'm still hoping one of them will see my letter to Congress or to President Trump. Steve Mnuchin said something that seems to have rippled through the internet pretty heavily. He basically stated that President Trump will have the final call on whether there will be stimulus or not. I don't know that I agree with that. I suppose he could try to do an executive order, but the different branches of government will all have a voice in this matter. The Democrats will get a little piece in the bill, the Republicans will get a piece in the bill, and the president will get a piece in the bill, and then they'll ultimately have to decide and move forward. I think data on jobs, the stock market, unemployment, and the overall health of the country will play a major role in what is finally decided. Yes, there will be a lot of politics between now and the final bill, but that's politics for you. I hate the timing of this, but it is what it is. If that is the case, though, I do believe that President Trump will push for more stimulus for the people. He has said it openly in press conferences, and two of his top White House officials have said multiple times that they definitely see something happen. It's nearly 100%. It's very, very likely. So that kind of language to me says that the president is thinking about that. So anyway, just something to chew on this weekend. A Senator Brady has now challenged the $450 per week back to work bonus program by suggesting that instead of that, people going back to work should be given a one-time $1,200 bonus for going back to work. The Senate will have to decide which makes more sense for the country and the government's checking account. However, this doesn't mean that money is off the table for you essential workers that have stayed working. So remember, just because one thing is proposed or discussed doesn't mean that the money for you is off the table. So I hope that makes sense. Susan from the community asked me, with coronavirus going up in certain parts of the country, do you think that we will go through another shutdown? Honestly, I don't think that we will go through another shutdown. I don't think that the people would stand for it. I don't think that the government would stand for it. But I'm not sure. From what I'm reading, and what we're all living through, I don't think that we'll ever see another shutdown of the country like we did ever again in our lifetime. But I don't know what the ultimate decision will be. I think that we will see a shift in behavior and how they react versus a shutdown. For example, there's a lot of positive data coming out of Finland and Japan and New Zealand on how they handled the coronavirus, which was very different than the US, and they've actually seen very positive results. So I could see us doing something more in line with what these countries did if there is indeed a second round of coronavirus. So good question. At the end of the day, I don't know, but I don't see that happening again. I just think that they will ask us to behave and act differently in the future. Okay, also at the end of the day, every state is making their own decisions, right? So President Trump and Fauci, they make their commentary, but ultimately it's the governor of each state that has made the decision. Okay, in the past few days, the Federal Reserve released that it is sitting on $1.5 trillion of cash at the central bank. This money is set aside to make sure that banks are stable. Steve Mnuchin of the Treasury and Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve have been in discussions in the past few days on how to spend this money and how best to use it to benefit the country. I messaged them that if they wanted, they could send it to me, but so far they've left me on red and not responded. So, in their conversations, they discussed how this money will be used to buy Treasury bills at the tune of about $80 billion a month. They do this in order to keep the United States strong and also to keep the dollar strong. It will also be used to help banks so that they don't end up with what Jerome Powell calls a repo crisis. The banks do not want your house. They do not want your car. This ends up being negative on their balance sheets. So some of this money will most likely be used in the lending arena to help strengthen people so that we don't see a massive wave of foreclosures or repossessions of cars. That doesn't mean that that won't happen, and I know some people on the channel are living through that right now, and my heart goes out to you, but this is what was discussed. I think it was also publicly disclosed so Congress could see that there is money and gain some confidence in spending money on the American citizen. Remember, the Federal Reserve cannot spend money, they can only lend money. It is Congress that has the authority to spend, and I believe that Jerome Powell is trying to give them the confidence they need to spend money on the American people. Lastly, 2 days ago, Steve Mnuchin said, I think we're going to seriously look at whether we want to do more direct money to stimulate the economy. Direct money in this case means money to people, not money to businesses. So he's come out and said we're going to be seriously looking at more direct money to stimulate the economy. Again, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. I'm just trying to show you that multiple higher ups are discussing the need for more money for you and more money for me. So take that with a grain of salt. Okay, now if you have found this video helpful up to this point and you haven't given this video a like, will you please just give it a like for me so that YouTube will share it with others, and please share this on social media. Okay, if your business is still trying to get money from the PPP program like mine is, please look into working with PayPal or Cabbage if your local bank or credit union have closed down the program. I don't get anything for telling you this except for happiness. So please look into that. I'm also working with PayPal at this present moment. Okay, if I find time tomorrow, I'm going to do something kind of fun on my community page. I'm going to post a link to where you can take a personality quiz. It takes less than 20 minutes, and it's been incredibly insightful for knowing yourself. I've actually learned a lot about myself that made me laugh, like, oh my gosh, wow, okay. Anyway, I would love if you decide to do it with me, if you would share your personality type, and I will share mine with you. Mine was so accurate that my wife and I actually looked at each other like this. What? Man, that's accurate. Okay, and as we go into the weekend, I wanted to point something out. I spent hours and hours researching something, and I've discovered that my community is full of incredible people, and I wanted to tell you before you go into the weekend that you are amazing. So if the weekend gets too heavy, just remember, Steve Gardner thinks I'm amazing. Hey, I want to thank you for being in my community, and I'll see you on the next video.